If we had to name one person that is really responsible for the establishment and the growth of our shul, would be Mickey Weiss.
If you really want to know what's important to Mickey, all you need to do is walk into the main shul and open up our own Kodesh and see the Sifrei Torah that Mickey dedicated to the shul.
Mickey wasn't just a giver with his hands. Mickey gave with his heart and his hands. He was completely dedicated, and still is completely dedicated, to an Orthodox synagogue and community in West Orange.
And when he first came to town, he went to rent an apartment in Verona. And he went there and he filled out a paper, says whatever it was at the time, a little application, and left a deposit. And it was a doctor owned it. It was a two-family house. And his secretary called him back the next day and said, "Oh, he didn't accept you as a tenant. Come back and pick up your paperwork." So he went to pick up his deposit. He says, "How come you didn't rent it to me? I worked on the block. I make a living. It shouldn't be a problem." She says, "Oh, he wouldn't let Jews on his property." Right down the block over here.
Mickey is a hero of the Jewish people. To witness what he did, and to go through the struggles and challenges of life, and see what his eyes saw, and be able to come and build a community and a beautiful shul like he did, that is ultimately what it means to be a Jew, and what it means to be a Jewish hero.
Mickey felt that there has to be an Orthodox community. He was very, if someone did anything about kashrus, it had to be perfect. It had to be this way, it had to be this. No ifs, ands, or buts.
When I was going out with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, I said, "Grandpa, I met a girl." He said, "Where her grandparents from?" I said, "They're from Belgium." He said, "Do they know that you're the son of a refugee?" I said, "Grandpa, grandson of a refugee." I said, "Look at everything you did here." I said, you helped build a shul down the block. It's now, one of the largest shuls in northern New Jersey. He always says how he was on the corner waving people in to bring in a minyan. Now how many members does the shul have?
Where we're having this dinner tonight, this hotel was Goldman's, and it was a kosher hotel, and Mickey was in charge of the catering here at Goldman's. If you wanted a job at Goldman's, if you were Jewish, you had to promise that you would come to the minyan if they needed you.
He made them go stand in the back. They weren't religious. They were Jewish, so they counted. And they would stand in the back of the room just to be counted so they could have a minyan.
Everyone knew that if you needed a minyan, you called Mickey, because he would have his people, if they were Jewish, he would send them to the minyan.
I just got off the phone with my grandfather a few days ago, and I told him that there's this rabbi in my school, and he's always telling me, "Listen, you should come in, you should wrap tefillin." And every day now I see the rabbi, I make sure that I see him, he sees me, and every day now I go and I put on my tefillin, and I say the Shema, and then I call my grandfather and I say, "Grandpa, every day now I'm putting on tefillin." And each and every day that I put on the tefillin, I open up the prayer book and I start reading the Shema. I think of all the sacrifices that my grandfather had to make in order for me to do that, in order for me to put on that tefillin, in order for no one to tell me that I couldn't do it, and that I'm able to do that freely. It means a lot.
He's always the first and Indian. From the first 10 people came to shul on Shabbos morning.
Always.
Hard life. Started out in Europe as a kid, in eastern Hungary near the Ukrainian border. No running water, no electricity, packed mud floors in the house, no heat. To go to sleep at night, they would heat up stones and put the stones in the hay bags they slept on. The mattress was a burlap stuffed with hay. I always wanted to come to America, he said, so he went to work as an apprentice baker when he was 12. So they sent him to a town where a family had a bakery that was looking for someone that wanted to learn. And when he was living with his family, he slept in the bakery on a hay bag next to the oven to keep warm. And he always remembered the family was snobby, and they would never let him eat at the table with them. And he sat by himself and ate alone. Because they always said, "You're the apprentice, you came from no place," so they didn't want to let him sit at the table. So since that day on, he said, any stranger he sees, he'll take in. When they got married, in the first couple of years, the Goldman's closed in the winter. Goldman's was a seasonal hotel. So after they were married, they're living in West Orange, they had rented an apartment. They would drive the coast down south to warmer climate where hotels were still open. And he worked as a baker, she was a waitress. The job included room and board. And they were sleeping in the basement. And she says she heard noises. She woke up and the rats were running around her feet. And that's how poor they were. That's how hard they worked. She never complained. Never complained. When they started the shul, in those days they had no money to pay for anyone to come in. So they did everything themselves. And the wives would be there cleaning the floors, washing the toilets, taking out the garbage. No one ever complained.
I've got to be as good a husband as he was to my grandma. He was, treated her like gold, like you don't see today.
Who was so devoted like Grandpa. Oof, some good care to your life.
Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill.
I just say, Grandpa, you got any advice for me? He says, just be a gentleman and treat your wife the right way. She comes first. It's advice to live by. He's 1000% right.
When my children see Mickey Weiss, they know that they have to stand up and pay tribute and honor just to be in his presence.
Well, as you watch this, just remember all the good years, think all the good times, but no, you couldn't find a better father, husband, grandfather if you looked any place on the planet.
Mazel tov, Mickey.
Mickey, we thank you for your wonderful, wonderful generosity in the past, for your beautiful generosity of the present, and please God, till 120, your wonderful generosity that will be.
There is no one who is more deserving of the Lifetime Achievement Award from Congregation A, B, J, and D than Mr. Mickey Weiss.
We want to say how much we all love you, respect you, and care for you. Have a great night.
We love you, Grandpa.
I
You're
love
the
you,
best.
Grandpa.